Hi. Welcome back to part 2 of document naming conventions. Let's pick up our training where we left off in part 1. In the previous example, you were faced with having to rename a file that was received from an external entity. It's important to be aware that other companies and external entities, and even computer systems and programs, have their own naming conventions. Have you ever looked at the title of a photo taken on your phone? You probably noticed that it's typically a series of numbers and letters, which to us, does not appear to contain any rhyme or reason. In the previous example, the corrections received by the AHJ was titled using the AHJ's naming conventions. The AHJ took the plan set that you submitted to them, made their red lines in the document, and renamed it to be in line with their naming conventions. As you received the document back into our system, you had to rename the document again to match our naming conventions. This situation, in various forms, is likely to happen quite frequently. So going forward, as you receive files from external sources, such as homeowners, AHJs, or utility companies, or as you receive documents created by programs containing automated titles, it's important to rename the documents to match our internal naming system. For example, a generic file name like image001.jpg should be renamed to something more descriptive and easily identifiable, such as Smith Residence, Main Electrical Gear 1. It won't always be realistic to rename all document files, specifically when you have a folder full of site images. But it can be useful to rename significant photos, in order to draw attention to them. Be sure to name document folders appropriately so that the contents are easily identifiable. Refer to the Document Storage Training module for instruction on how to properly name document folders. Next on our list, is the use of special prefixes. For special projects, using specific prefixes can help identify the type of project and distinguish it from others. This can also help with grouping and identifying related documents more easily. This method comes in handy when dealing with projects that are part of a common or parent portfolio, such as the case when you have multiple, independent projects, all beneath a singular partner or business. Common special prefixes may include roofing, O&M, WS, aka warranty service, IX, aka interconnection only, or the parent company's name. Prefixes are usually single words or simple abbreviations, so don't get carried away with creating lengthy prefixes. Keep it simple. Okay, let's try another scenario. You're working on a commercial project for Diamond Z Investments Corporation, aka DZI. DZI owns a portfolio of independent projects that we are partnered on to perform solar installations. One such project is for the Park Villas apartment complex, located at 236 East Avenue in Glendale. On July 7, 2024, you received the permit with permit number AP5788-2024, from the AHJ. What would be the correct file name for the permit file? If you answered C, you are correct. The correct answer is DZI Park Villas, 236 East Avenue, permit AP5788-2024, V.07.07.2024. Including permit numbers in the document title is good practice for easily identifying important reference numbers. This technique can also be applied to case numbers, interconnection application numbers, and project identification numbers. Next up, is the nomenclature technique, when we have either a series of related documents, or building-specific documents, such as buildings with assigned numbers or letters. When dealing with a series of related documents, or projects involving multiple buildings, numbering and including building identifiers is key. First, let's look at an example with a series of photos. In this example, imagine that we have 3 photos taken in progression, which show various angles of a potential equipment mounting location on the west wall of the building. The appropriate document title for this series of photos would be ABC Corp. -123 Main Street, West Wall. Photo 1. Then ABC Corp. -123 Main Street, West Wall. Photo 2. And finally ABC Corp. -123 Main Street, West Wall. Photo 3. Now, let's look at an example which has two buildings, A and B respectively, where we need to name two preliminary working design files. These document file names would be ABC Corp. -123 Main Street, Building A, Prelim Design, V03.07.2024, and then ABC Corp. -123 Main Street, Building B, Prelim Design, V03.05.2024. Before we wrap up, let's quickly recap the key points of our document naming conventions. First, always start with a clear identifier, whether it's the company or customer name, followed by the address, and a concisely descriptive purpose of the document. Be sure to use proper versioning and status markers to track document stages. And don't forget the importance of renaming external files to ensure consistency within our system. Using prefixes for special projects, keeping series of documents numbered, and clearly labeling building-specific files are vital steps for maintaining organization and clarity. By following these conventions, we ensure that everyone involved in a project can quickly locate and understand the status of any document. This concludes our training on document naming conventions. Thanks for joining me. I'll look forward to seeing you on the next training course.